What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Comic Breakdown. In this video, we are jumping into the dawn of DC with Superman Action Comics 1055. This is the return of Cyborg Superman. Superman's true enemy has finally been revealed. It is Hank Henshaw. Everything that the Super family has built now stands on a knife's edge, with Superman and Metallo becoming unlikeliest of allies. They hunt for Metallo's missing sister, but now they worry that they might be running out of time. It might be too late. So make sure you guys have subscribed to the channel, make sure that you like this video, and with that being said, let's dive into this breakdown. Alright gang, so as we dive into this issue, we are picking up with violence in A-Town. We see that the police and National Guard have begun evacuating A-Town. I want to point out that one of these National Guard members is wearing a 3rd Infantry Division patch. That's actually really funny considering I was in the 3rd Infantry Division myself, but they are not a National Guard unit. But I don't expect the people in the comic world to fully understand what units go where and so on and so forth. It is nice to see a little bit of 3rd ID represented in some kind of comic form. But they are evacuating because of Metropolis's Warworld refugee housing development. An attack from a new metahuman threat continues to escalate. Representatives from Steelwork have put out some kind of statements, saying that the cybernetic bombers, they call themselves the Necro Hive. They are part of a domestic terrorist threat, one that continues to kill refugees and destabilize the city of Metropolis. An anonymous source has given them some details, Star Labs claiming that it's more than likely the Necro Hive originated from Warworld, or at least some other hostile alien civilization. As we see the Super family members battling against the Necro Hive, Superman is noticing that all of this has to be remote-controlled cyborg corpses. As he gets hit with a huge blast of kryptonite, the voices from the Necro Hive begin to talk to him. It doesn't take long for Superman to figure out that this is Henshaw. Hank Henshaw has been making these cyborgs. Now, Steel and the others, they're a little confused, because Cyborg Superman, he's supposed to be in the Phantom Zone. But Superboy reported a puppet of his had been reanimated during the Dark Crisis. They don't know how he is doing this, but it is him. This is where he goes on to explain that escaping that imprisonment, it wasn't as difficult as he may think, because you cannot imprison a technopath. Any scrap of complex technology, he can reach into it and he can control it like a limb. Even after he left these devices behind, some of them retained a trace of his consciousness. Luthor recently discovered this. Believing that Hank Henshaw was in the Phantom Zone, he had reverse engineered the digital consciousness of Cyborg Superman, using this as the framework for an adaptive operating system he called the Henshaw Engine. He used it to build his new remote battlesuit satellites, and then Metallo's body. When it came online, Henshaw could feel it even from the Phantom Zone. He could even speak through it. And so even in the Phantom Zone, he is rebuilding himself here on Earth, asking where Tracy Corbin is. He simply says that her and him are going to be family soon, taking us to a little bit later at the Fortress of Solitude. They know that they are running out of time. Superman knows that they are running out of time. Metallo is beginning to panic, believing that it might be too late for his sister already. This is where Superman gets an idea. While Kara is very much against this idea, Superman doesn't have much options. Henshaw had said that this was of his own flesh and blood. This gave Superman the idea that somebody might be able to track this down. While Superman doesn't love the idea, it might be one of their few options. This is where he activates the device. This is where we have the Eradicator, asking Kal-El to state the directive. Superman goes on to explain that your predecessor claimed to be the caretaker of Kryptonian life in the universe, and of its purity. while the Eradicator is sensing in this chamber clones of Superman, asking if this is what he wants him to take care of. Superman says that there is something else out there, something else that is bonded to a cybernetic frame without Superman's consent. He is asking the Eradicator to find this. The Eradicator agrees. His primary directive is ensuring the survival and sanctity of Kryptonian life. If there is an abomination out there that exists in that capacity, he will find it. And so as our team takes off, they go following after, the Eradicator leading them to an old abandoned airport, one that belongs to LexCorp, as they find a giant gaping hole out of the ground. The Super family, they dive in to go investigate. And while they are making their way down here, Metallo really starts to try and connect with the kids, with Otha and the others. Now Superman has been trying to teach these young super twins that violence isn't always the answer. They come from a world that was just absolutely devastated with violence. They don't understand the concept of trying to be friends with somebody, especially after they've killed you. Now, Superman has made it clear that he is going to pay for his crimes, that Corbin will pay for everything that he has done. But right now, they are working together. They are working together to save a life. And Metallo, he knows that he has done wrong. He even admits that he will more than willing go into jail and pay for his crimes, but thinking that maybe, just maybe one day, he could be a good guy. He could be a hero. But right now, he is too focused on saving his sister. It doesn't take long, but they get to the end of the tunnel, and this is where they find Cyborg Superman, with Superman letting Henshaw know that he is outmatched, that they would like to know where Tracy Corbin is. But what they see is that they are already too late, with Tracy trying to tell her brother that she cannot control herself, as she begs him for help. We see that Cyborg Superman has absolute control of her. As she walks towards our heroes, we see her open up her mouth and kryptonite comes pouring out. And that will be the end of this issue. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Definitely not a long issue. There is another side story in the back that if you guys want to read, I highly recommend picking up the comic so that you can find out what's happening with that. When it comes to the main story, there wasn't a whole lot going on besides moving the plot forward. But the most interesting stuff out of this comic was the conversations that Metallo and the Super Twins were having. Now, Metallo goes into detail on what happened in his childhood. He talks about how their relationship, the Super Twins' relationship, is a lot like his and his sister's. He was willing to do anything to protect his sister, even picking up a gun and protecting her by murdering someone. Now, we could sit here and argue that that was self-defense, so on and so forth, but the point he's trying to get across is that he would do anything for his sister, even if that means killing Superman. But there's also a moment of clarity, one where he recognizes all of his bad doings, recognizing that he has gone too far, that he has done the wrong things. But the only thing he cares about is the safety of Tracy. But it looks like maybe it's already too late. Tracy has already turned into a cyborg. While her mind is still in there, she has absolute no control over what's happening. With Cyborg Superman controlling her, using her as a weapon, he knows the Super family will not kill her. And so now they must figure out how to take her down, as well as this new Cyborg Superman that has manifested himself back into the real world. When it's all said and done, this was a really enjoyable issue. We got to see a different part of Metallo. We got to see the warm-hearted side of him that's rarely ever shown. But it's also showing a reflection of reality, of the human condition. Because there are times that we could be pushed to the limits of doing horrible things for the ones that we love. And Corbin was twisted. He was manipulated. He had been tricked into believing all of this. On top of that, Cyborg Superman was controlling him in not necessarily the physical aspect, but in a mental capacity, showing him images, making him believe that Lex Luthor was behind all of this, when in fact, it was Cyborg Superman manipulating the whole situation. But it's gonna be interesting to see where this story goes, so let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Let me know your thoughts, let me know your theories. If you would like to get completely caught up on everything going on with Action Comics, be sure to check out the link in my description as well as the top of this video. It will get you completely caught up on everything going on with this series. If you would like to support the channel, you can always do so by joining the channel membership, much like Patreon having multiple different tiers, from $1 to $50, from loyalty badges to comics every single month. Not only are you helping out the channel tremendously, you are getting tons of perks in the process. If you are unable to do that, do me a favor, subscribe to the channel, like this video, hit that notification bell, and with that being said, until the next breakdown.